In a world where history continues to influence the present, a recent event has stirred emotions and reignited discussions that many hoped had already moved into a more progressive direction. The unexpected arrival of a group of white Afrikaners in the United States, specifically in New York, has set the stage for a tense and emotional confrontation with South Africa's past and present issues concerning race, identity, and reconciliation. Their arrival, shrouded in controversy, quickly drew attention not just from the media but also from the international public, largely due to their reportedly offensive views on race and their unapologetic rhetoric, which many critics labeled as deeply rooted in outdated ideologies. While some have defended the group's right to freedom of expression, others have condemned their conduct, calling it a shameful reminder of the pain inflicted by apartheid and colonial systems. However, within the storm of criticism and outrage, a single voice has emerged that stands in stark contrast to the group's divisive posture. A white Afrikaner woman, choosing anonymity for her own safety, has bravely and publicly denounced the very people with whom she traveled. To understand why this is so significant, we must first take a look back at the historical foundation of South Africa's complex racial dynamics. South Africa's history is one that is deeply scarred by the injustices of apartheid, a brutal legal and social system imposed by the white minority government that enforced racial segregation and systemic oppression for decades. Instituted in 1948 and only officially dismantled in 1994, apartheid divided people by race, stripped non-white citizens of their rights, and embedded inequality so deeply into the nation's fabric that its effects are still painfully visible today. Afrikaners, many of whom trace their ancestry to Dutch settlers, played a significant role in maintaining the apartheid regime. The National Party, dominated by Afrikaners, enforced laws that kept black South Africans and other people of color marginalized and economically disadvantaged. The legacy of apartheid has never been just a South African issue, it is a globally recognized period of injustice, comparable to the civil rights struggles in the United States and the global anti-colonial movements of the 20th century. Even after South Africa transitioned to democracy under the leadership of Nelson Mandela, racial tensions have not entirely disappeared. They have merely transformed into more subtle, yet persistent forms of inequality, misunderstanding, and division. It is against this backdrop that the recent incident in New York must be viewed. The group of Afrikaners who landed in the United States reportedly carried with them not just luggage, but ideological baggage that many hoped would have been abandoned long ago. Their presence and public remarks, seen by many as racially insensitive if not outright discriminatory, immediately sparked concern. In an era where societies are striving toward diversity, inclusion, and mutual respect, this group's arrival seemed to pull the conversation backwards. Social media lit up with discussions, and soon the story caught international headlines. But what caught even more attention was the act of a single individual who chose to step away from the group's narrative and offer a message of reconciliation and progress instead. The woman, whose identity has been shielded for safety, expressed her deep regret at being linked to individuals she described as clinging to a harmful past. Her public statement was brief but deeply impactful. She said she felt ashamed to be associated with people who refused to evolve beyond outdated beliefs, and emphasized her belief in dignity, equality, and mutual understanding. Her words struck a chord with many who have grown tired of the continuous friction caused by racial prejudice. In choosing to speak out, she put herself at risk, not just physically, but socially, emotionally, and possibly even politically. This was not merely an act of personal distancing, but a bold declaration against the narrative that all Afrikaners support the same racial ideologies as the group in question. Her action has since been described as a symbolic break from the past, a glimmer of hope that progress is not only possible but actively being pursued by some within communities that are often viewed as resistant to change. The reaction to her statement has been powerful. Many South Africans, both at home and abroad, expressed support for her courage. Activists applauded her for standing up for justice, emphasizing that silence often allows harmful ideologies to persist unchallenged. Some described her statement as a crucial reminder that not all Afrikaners are monolithic in their thinking and that many are actively trying to dismantle the historical barriers that separate people in South Africa. However, her action has also provoked criticism from those who viewed her comments as disloyal to her community. Online threats and backlash followed, highlighting how sensitive and emotionally charged this issue remains, even decades after the end of apartheid. But it is precisely this response that underlines why her stand is so important. It has sparked uncomfortable but necessary conversations that push people to confront lingering prejudices. This incident also opens up a broader conversation about the role of South African expatriates living abroad. When individuals move to other countries, they carry their heritage, experiences, and sometimes biases with them. The diaspora becomes a reflection of a nation's internal struggles and triumphs, and in this case, it has also become a battleground for ideologies that refuse to die quietly. As South Africans continue to migrate or engage with global communities, questions arise about responsibility, accountability, and representation. Should South Africans abroad be held to the same standards of social responsibility as those within the country? Should they serve as ambassadors of change, or do they risk perpetuating harmful narratives if they fail to evolve? These are not easy questions, but they are essential ones. For many watching this unfold from afar, the woman's stand serves as a microcosm of the larger struggle within South Africa. It's a struggle between old wounds and new hopes, between inherited narratives and chosen beliefs. It is a reminder that change begins with individuals willing to speak out, even when it is uncomfortable or dangerous to do so. While it may seem like a small act, a brief statement from one person, it has resonated globally because of what it represents, a refusal to remain silent in the face of injustice. Her words do not erase the harm caused by the group she traveled with, nor do they magically solve South Africa's racial challenges. But they do serve as a spark, one that could ignite deeper discussions and inspire more people to rethink how they confront their past and build their future. If this story moved you or made you think more critically about race, identity, and personal responsibility, make sure to subscribe for more in-depth analysis and discussions like this. And tell us what you think in the comments below. Do you believe individual voices like hers can shift the broader conversation? Should more people speak out even if it means standing alone? We want to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and join us next time as we continue to explore the stories shaping our world today.